All right, let's get right into it. Today we're going to tackle a super common problem, one that drives a lot of people crazy. You're putting in all this work, but you're just not seeing the results you want. Let's break down exactly why that might be happening. So, you're showing up. You are consistent. You're lifting, you're sweating, you're putting in the hours at the gym. But when you look in the mirror week after week, it's like nothing's changing. Man, is that frustrating or what? It's enough to make you wonder if all that effort is even worth it. But here's the thing, the problem probably isn't your effort. It's more likely about balance. And the best way to think about it is with this idea of a three-legged stool. For that stool to be stable, to actually support your goals, all three legs have to be solid. If even one of them is weak or wobbly or just flat out missing, the whole thing collapses. It doesn't matter how strong the other two are. Okay, so let's start with the first leg of that stool. This is the one everybody focuses on, right? The workout itself. This is the stimulus. This is you in the gym sending a signal to your body that it needs to adapt and grow. Now, this is a huge mental shift, so really let this sink in. You don't actually build muscle during your workout. You're actually breaking it down. You're creating these tiny microscopic tears in the muscle fibers, and that damage, that's the signal. That's what tells your body, hey, we need to repair this and we better build it back stronger so we can handle this kind of stress next time. No damage, no signal. And no signal means no growth. Simple as that. You know, your body is an incredible adaptation machine. It gets really good at whatever you ask it to do. So if you go to the gym and do the exact same workout with the exact same weights for months on end, why would it change? It has no reason to. And that's where this crucial concept comes in, progressive overload. It just means you have to consistently give your body a new reason to adapt. And look, it's not just about piling more weight on the bar. It can be doing more reps, improving your form, shortening your rest times. The point is, you have to keep challenging yourself. So, to get the most bang for your buck in the gym, you really want to focus on the big compound movements. We're talking squats, deadlifts, overhead presses, bench presses. These exercises hit multiple muscle groups at once, and that creates a way bigger signal for growth across your whole body. And for most of us, hitting each muscle group about twice a week seems to be the sweet spot for keeping that growth signal active all week long. And this is a perfect example of how that plays out. You've got the classic bro split, chest day on Monday, back day on Tuesday, and so on. With that setup, you're only stimulating each muscle once a week. But if you switch to something like an upper-lower split, you can hit all those same muscles twice in that same 7-day window. For a lot of people, that extra frequency makes a world of difference. Now, this brings us to a really important debate, intensity versus consistency. It feels great to go to absolute failure on every set, right? To just grind out that last rep. But honestly, that's often a fast track to burnout and just feeling beat up all the time. A much smarter, more sustainable approach is to leave maybe 1 or 2 reps in the tank on most of your sets. This lets you recover better so you can show up again and again, week after week, making steady progress. Trust me, long-term consistency will always beat short-term intensity. All right, you've sent the signal, you've damaged the muscle, and told your body it's time to grow. Now your body needs the actual raw materials to do the rebuilding job. And that brings us to the second leg of our stool, nutrition, or the fuel. I love this analogy, it's just perfect. Think of your workout as the demolition crew that comes in and tears down the old, weaker structure. Well, you can't build a new, bigger, stronger building with no supplies. Nutrition, that's the convoy of trucks showing up with all the bricks, the mortar, and the steel beams. You simply cannot out-train a bad diet. And the most important building block here, the absolute non-negotiable, is protein. The target you're really shooting for is somewhere in the ballpark of 0.8 to 1.0 grams of protein per pound of your body weight. And that's every single day. If you don't get enough protein, your body just doesn't have the amino acids it needs to repair the damage you did in the gym. But it's not just about protein. To actually build new muscle tissue, your body needs extra energy. That means being in a slight caloric surplus, eating just a little bit more than you burn, maybe 250 to 500 calories. Carbs are also critical for refueling your muscles and powering those intense workouts. And healthy fats, they're essential for regulating hormones like testosterone. Oh, and don't forget water. Your muscles are about 75% water, so even being a little dehydrated can crush your performance. Okay, so we've got the stimulus, and we've got the fuel. Now it's time for the third, and honestly, the most underrated and neglected leg of the stool, recovery. This is where the magic actually happens. Let this one sink in because it's so important. All that hard work in the gym, that's just creating the potential for growth. It's completely useless if you don't give your body the time and the right environment to actually do the rebuilding. You don't get bigger and stronger while you're lifting the weight. You grow hours and even days later while you are resting. And what's the number one most powerful form of recovery? It's sleep. End of story. Aiming for that optimal range of 7 to 9 hours a night is non-negotiable. Why? Because when you're in deep sleep, your body releases a flood of powerful growth hormones, like HGH, human growth hormone, that are absolutely essential for repairing tissue. If you skimp on sleep, you are directly sabotaging your own progress. But recovery isn't just about being passed out in bed. Active recovery, things like going for a light walk or doing some stretching on your off days, can be amazing for increasing blood flow and speeding up repair. And we also have to talk about managing life stress. When you're constantly stressed out, your body is flooded with cortisol, which puts you in a catabolic or breakdown state. It's almost impossible to build muscle when your body is stuck in fight or flight mode. So there they are, our 3 pillars: the stimulus, the fuel, and the recovery. The real secret, the art behind all of this, is just learning how to keep those 3 things in balance.
So let's just recap it one last time. First, you provide the stimulus with smart, challenging workouts. Second, you provide the fuel with enough protein and calories. And third, you provide the time and the right environment for growth with quality recovery. All 3. You need all 3.
And you have to understand, this is not a 6-week program. True, lasting results come from patiently and consistently keeping this 3-legged stool balanced, not just for a few weeks, but for months, and yes, for years. That is how you build a strong, impressive physique that lasts. And let's just end on this thought because it says everything. A perfect workout is absolutely useless if you only sleep 4 hours a night. You could have the best training program on the planet, but if one leg of that stool is missing, if your nutrition is a mess or your recovery is terrible, the whole thing is going to fall flat. So take an honest look at your own approach. Which leg of your stool needs the most work?